Hello, dear friends. The escalation of war grows every day despite containment. A divine jug of cold water is missing to put out the fire of war. Opinion piece. Advance or delay. Opposing hypotheses. A crucial moment. Global economic crisis. Crisis equals opportunity. Black Monday on October 30th. For great evils, great remedies. Let's start. There are two opposing hypotheses about the alarming current of escalation of war: that this would delay the announced changes, or that this crisis would force them to be brought forward. I don't know who is right, but the most optimistic speak of November, and the most pessimistic say that there is nothing to do until 2026. In any case, it seems difficult to change the world in this moment of crisis, although history teaches us that there were many drastic changes when humankind was on the brink of the abyss. But in the office of prophet, all talents crash. It is clear that the bad guys have caused the crisis with the intention of delaying events, but it is also known that the white hats intend to take advantage of this emergency to apply major changes, following the philosophy that every crisis is an opportunity, and that for great evils, great remedies. The expected developments would include a global financial reset as the main banner, among many other reforms that have been described many times. A global economic crisis is expected on Black Monday, October 30th, but an economic crisis could also trigger the largest transfers of wealth in human history. With the global currency reset about to occur, false flags, crisis actors, and media propagandists have been used to play out scenarios that would support a global conflict. Solar storms are also likely to occur on October 30th, when a stream of solar wind hits the Earth's magnetic field. For 2 weeks now, the revalued Iraqi dinar has been trading on the back screens of the Forex and is being positioned for the new international exchange rate that would soon be made public, according to Iraqi banks. The round letter said that everything would change after the Argentine elections, and the world would be left without the internet for a while. We are getting closer to that timeline. Donald Trump said the damn lights were going out of on Halloween. Would that be the most appropriate day to bring demons to their knees? Nobody knows. The only thing that is known is that the crisis could cause a rise in gold and oil, and that the big banks are taking drastic measures by closing hundreds of branches and laying off thousands of employees in an unprecedented apocalyptic measure in anticipation of a crisis that could reshape the entire economic landscape of the world. Opinions. Zap says, I have been accused of being a conspiracy theorist, but I have discovered that there are only 2 weeks left before the theory becomes a reality. What happens when we enter the tipping point? According to David Dabine, events are underway that are expanding day by day. Once we reach the tipping point, oil would stop flowing and fiat currencies would buy little. We are seeing the beginning of this quickly. According to the X22 report, the Fed is ready to control the yield curve, and this will drive gold and Bitcoin higher. Central banks are taking steps to introduce digital currency. This has started in Europe and Australia, but the economic system is deteriorating and the market would begin to break in 2024. According to Logan B., in quotes, There was a time when we used to get information from the Chinese elders themselves, but they were silenced. The last we heard was that they will not release RB while the current administration is in place. The elders know who really runs the show and don't care about visible management. The Hats have admitted that they have a glass platform to predict the future. We are about to witness one of the most crucial moments in modern history, according to Michael Snyder. Most people don't seem to realize that one of the most important moments we have ever witnessed is about to happen. Nothing will be the same when the invasion of Gaza officially begins. From that moment on, the entire Middle East would burst into flames and the world economy would completely go out of control. Much of the Muslim world is railing behind Hamas, so Israel could soon find itself fighting a war of national survival. We are on the brink of the unthinkable, so I encourage you to prepare accordingly. Morgan Freeman admitted that he is concerned about the current state of the world during the popular talk show The View. He warned that something big is going to happen in the near future, and that people would need to change their ways to stop it. Has anyone noticed that their neighbors don't even go outside anymore? When you marry someone you are not in love with, you are deceiving the universe, because that is not the person God planned for you to marry. That's why the world is in the mess it is in. You are, papa, you are purpose for life on earth. You live on earth to learn the values of kindness, such as loving others, nobility, and helping others. Awaken the kindness of your heart. Economy. Fear of war drives up gold and oil. China is dumping treasury bonds to buy gold. Gold is near all-time highs measured against the yen. The Japanese yen has fallen to its lowest level against the dollar in a year. Ripple and JP Morgan's Onyx coin are now competitors. The European Payments Council has postponed the migration of payment schemes to the ISO 20022 version until March. Warren Buffett dumped a bunch of bank stocks before his epic fall this year, escaping major pain. War rumors. Israel expands its ground operations in Gaza. Netanyahu refuses to sign the Gaza invasion plan for fear of failure, according to the New York Times. Netanyahu claims that he is preparing a ground attack on Gaza, but declined to specify when it will take place. Iran assures that no one will be spared from this flame if the attacks on Gaza continue. Israel resumes launching incendiary projectiles against the forests of southern Lebanon. Attack on a U.S. base in the Conoco gas field in Syria. The U.S. attacks two sites in Syria linked to Iran, according to the Pentagon. Biden will not apologize for calling civilian casualties the price of war, in quotes. The UN Human Rights Office denounces war crimes in the conflict. Israel calls Amnesty International anti-Semitic for denouncing war crimes. The Palestinian ambassador to the UN says that 70% of the 7,000 civilians' deaths are women and children. The US is not prepared for war against Iran, according to Scott Reuter. Iran begins large-scale maneuvers for all ground force formations. China will continue to support Iran in safeguarding its national sovereignty. It is only a matter of time before Iran launches an attack with the support of Russia, China, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, Egypt, etc. According to David Lifshultz, Muslim countries are united and can bring down the financial system whenever they want. Iran and Saudi Arabia are allying. Belarus asks not to start a war against Iran to avoid a global conflict. Colonel McGregor told Tucker Carlson, in quotes, "We are moving toward a war with Iran and the chosen destiny is Armageddon. The entire region is involved in the war." Hundreds of American soldiers land in Israel. 900 American soldiers are already deployed in the Middle East. France sends the Tonnerre helicopter carrier to Israel, capable of transporting dozens of helicopters and hundreds of Marines. The French Ministry of Foreign Affairs has announced that this Saturday it will send a plane loaded with humanitarian aid for the Gaza Strip to Egypt. Britain, Germany, and Australia are also sending their military groups to the region, warships, special forces, aircraft, and more. Turkey's president says Israel attacks on Gaza are barbaric and go beyond self-defense, in his opinion. Gaza doctors refuse to abandon patients while Israel bombs hospitals. Medical personnel in Gaza describe apocalyptic scenes in which they have to make life or death decisions to rescue those injured by airstrikes. A large number of fuel tankers have accumulated on the border of Iraq and Jordan. Western countries do not dare to admit Ukraine's defeat on the battlefield, according to Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. 440,000 Spaniards victims of pedophilia in the church, according to the Ombudsman. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.